Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Off the Backboard podcast. Back again with Caleb this week. He's back.
Yeah, not traveling as much this week. Sort of traveling. I haven't really spent much time at home lately, but traveling for the holidays, seeing family.
Yeah, and the past week, obviously we've been last week you weren't available, but a lot's happened across the league, especially in the standings. Speaking of standings, we're about a third of the way through the season. What's stood out to you in terms of standings? Or that was phrased weird. I apologize, but
No, you're good.
what's standing out to you so far with how the standings are turning out, where teams are sitting currently, and
Mhm.
what's surprised you the most? What's disappointed you the most so far, man?
In the Eastern Conference, what's really surprised me is the New York Knicks are starting to catch up to the Pistons. I thought Detroit's early season, just like kind of race ahead, would really solidify that one seed, and it still probably will. But right now, the Knicks are only 2 games away. They're sitting 20-8. The Pistons are 22-6. New York's really stepped it up. I think that Brunson is having one of the best seasons, if not the best season of his career. I love how OG Anunoby has played for New York. But then in the 3 seed, 2.5 games behind the Knicks, is the Jason Tatumless Boston Celtics, also with no real starting center. I think this really speaks to the ascension of Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, and especially just the continued intellectual dominance of Joe Mazzulla. I mean, it's he seems crazy. Every quote from him that is not basketball related makes me scared to meet him outside of a basketball arena. Um, like he wants to have a wolf that just patrols his house now. I guess. Shout out to the Mizzoulas. But basketball, he's a genius, mad genius. And then out west, I thought the San Antonio Spurs would be maybe the 5th seed, maybe the 6th seed. Um, being the 2 seed out west, I mean, they're tied right now with Denver, so I guess you could argue they're not the true 2 seed, but they are according to the standings. And I'm just very happy to see how well Stephon Castle looks this year. I've become a really big Castle fan. I know Wemby is obviously the best player on that team, but to me, Castle might be my favorite. I love the way he plays. Big fan of Dylan Harper. De'Aaron Fox has fit in well with those 2 other young guards, kind of trying to be the stars as well. I love how San Antonio is playing. So those are probably the things that stand out most. Obviously, we have the Sixers and the 4 seed. I don't think anyone expected that with Embiid always being injured. The Warriors not having a great year. I mean, there's always going to be those teams. I could go on all day about my Cavaliers. They finally won a game again. But, those are the things that stand out most. How about you?
Yeah, to me, I think I thought a lot of the teams that I've seen. I had the Spurs being a top 4 seed. I
Mm-hmm.
had Detroit and New York being really battling for top spots in the East. But to me, what stood out the most, I think, out of anybody, is probably those Cleveland Cavaliers. You touched on them
Yeah.
a little bit. I thought they were going to be the 1 seed again this year. I thought they were going to run it back. I thought they were going to still be good. I thought it was going to be them, Detroit, New York was going to be the standings, but Cleveland's just fallen off a cliff. I don't know. I haven't watched too
Yeah.
many of their games, so I don't know what else different for them. But I was expecting them to be way better than they are. The Hawks are another team I thought were going to be
Mm-hmm.
good at that. Just back to the plan for them.
Yeah, the Hawks on a negative end. Yeah, for me, I thought the Hawks would probably be in that 5 to 7 range. For them to be ninth and be 15-15, just not looking good. I mean,
No,
Jalen Johnson looks fantastic. I like Dyson Daniels, but as a team, they're not. Nothing stands out as a positive as a team, as a collective.
no, they've got diamonds here and there, like you mentioned, Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels. They've both been fantastic, but as a team, they're just there. They just exist. Granted, injuries to Trey Young and Kristaps
Hmm.
Porzingis being his career potentially being up in the air going forward, that
Yeah.
definitely doesn't help them. But then another team in the West that I thought was going to be better, that's just been horrible. This has been a season that they do not want to remember 10 years from now. The Los Angeles Clippers. I thought they would make it in.
Great, a bad season for the Clippers. Great season for OKC because of it.
Yeah, great, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah,
Uh,
that draft pick's about to turn out real nice for them.
that's terrible. Oh
Yeah,
my
the
goodness.
Clippers are currently 7-21.
Yeah, I didn't think they would come in and be a fantastic. I had them making it and making it through the play-in. Same with Golden State.
Yeah,
I thought those would both be the top two play-in teams, but now it's looking like they're not even gonna be in the contention for maybe we make the play-in at the end of the season. Team.
yeah, the Clippers. I I don't want to do like a negative. I predicted this. I like to try to stay positive with a lot of things, but the Clippers are a team I've never had faith in.
No.
Since they got Kawhi and Paul George, I just never had the faith. I know they don't have PG anymore. Obviously, he's in Philly. They have Harden. They have Zubats. They traded away Powell this year, which I think was a mistake. I didn't like that move.
That was a bad move. The
I
second
didn't-
that happened.
I didn't like the decision to bring in Beal, and it's just I never had faith they would be healthy when it mattered. I never had faith that they'd put it all together and have some miracle run. It felt like every year, every time people were predicting the Clippers would win the West, that's what they said. They said, well, if they're healthy, they're going to win it. That's a big if, and in fact, it's more of a imagine if this could happen. They just won't be healthy, and I think
Yeah.
we're finally seeing that be more than just in the playoffs. It hurts them. They are demonstrably worse off than they've ever been in the Kawhi
Yeah.
era.
And-
And you know what? They had some big aspirations this year, and it seems like those all got chopped up like some trees. So. Still
Yeah.
waiting to hear about that. That could. I mean, at least it can't get worse. I mean, now if the NBA. Imagine if they were the 1 seed and the NBA came in and said, hey, Kawhi's not allowed to be on the Clippers anymore. Contract is null and void. That would really suck if they were the 1 seed. Now it's like, you're the 14 seed. Oh, no. We got off that
God
money.
forbid.
Gosh. They probably lose some draft. Maybe that's what they should do. Next year's Clippers draft pick is null and void. It does not exist. The 2027 Clippers pick,
Doesn't
no matter
OKC
who it's
own the
owned
swap?
by, no
Didn't
matter
they
who
trade
it's
the
owned
swap
by,
rights?
no matter who it's owned by, it is deleted. It is canceled. It does not exist. It is just gone into a void. No one gets it. Absolutely nobody.
Yeah, just punish the Thunder for no reason.
What do you mean? No, we're punishing the Knicks. I don't know where you're getting this idea of the Thunder are being punished. I'm punishing the Knicks. I'm being really hard on them about it. You don't get Kawhi anymore, so that's 40 plus million off your books and no 2027 pick for anybody if it was previously owned by the Clippers. No one. So I think that's the punishment that, and honestly, anyone drafted with a Clippers pick for the last 4 years should probably be null and void as well. They should have to go into free agency and can't sign.
I'm trying to remember who all they've drafted.
I think J-Dub was drafted with a Clippers pick.
Yeah, he was a Clippers pick, but obviously he's an OKC. I'm trying to remember what the Clippers have done with the picks they've had, though.
I think they've traded a few. I don't think they got anyone major with it. I guess
Didn't they trade the one for John Collins?
They did.
Yeah. They haven't done anything with a draft pick since Terrence Mann, I don't think.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, because
No.
they've traded for everybody else they have or signed. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, Kawhi Leonard he has not been good on either end.
No.
Every time I've watched the Clippers, he looks tired. He looks he looks older than LeBron does, and that's not a good thing. Because LeBron also hasn't looked good, but that's another issue.
Don't get too hard on LeBron. His last 4 games have all been
he's
good.
He's figuring it out. He's figuring it out.
LeBron has been enjoying the fact he can coast this season. He has been enjoying it so much.
He's looked a step slower, but
Yeah.
Kawhi, his entire career has been defined by his defense, and then watching literally any film from the Clippers this year, Kawhi Leonard does not give a crap on that end of the ball anymore. He's not. It's weird because Chris Paul, who is 41 years old, has more hustle than literally any other player on the Clippers, and they cut him. And like at the clip, Kawhi Leonard hasn't looked good. James Harden has looked fine at times. I think his numbers look a lot better than his actual play has been. In my opinion, I think he's also starting to look a little older. He's not getting to the rim quite as well as he used to. Obviously, he's 36, 37, 38, somewhere in that range.
You know, if the Clippers do want a chance to maybe reset a little bit, get a bit younger, they could trade Zubac for a nice young, almost in their prime center, maybe like a Jared Allen. If they would like that, they'd be. I think the Cavs might be happy to negotiate that. But no, I mean the Clippers are tough. Like just thinking about what's next. Like as you mentioned, James Harden's looking older, Kawhi's looking older. They got rid of Chris Paul, who was looking good but still looking older. They don't have youth. I mean, they don't have.
They have 2 players under the age of 30, and they are, I believe it's John Collins and
Zubac, who's 20.
Is it Zubac?
Yeah.
Is Chris Dunn over 30?
Believe so, yeah.
Oh my
Pretty
goodness.
sure.
Time flies. I remember when
does.
he was a rookie.
Yeah, the Clippers don't have a future right now. They've put all their eggs in the basket of win now. Honestly, not even win now. Win 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Their eggs have been in the win 2 years ago basket, and they didn't win 2 years ago.
No.
So they don't have much direction. I do think they are at a point where they could look at like a Zubac for not even draft picks, but just a younger center option. Sending him off to, God, I don't know. Do they ever try to send him to the Jazz and try to get like a Walker Kessler or something? I don't know. I really don't. But they just need some way to get youth. But they're in a tough spot where Kawhi's not going to get you many draft picks. In fact, can you even really trade Kawhi with the aspiration thing? Can you? Is James Harden going to get you draft picks? No, he might get you some expiring contracts for other overpriced veterans.
Yeah, my issue is with Kawhi, you're gonna have to attach picks to trade that contract. Like he makes $40 million a year.
More than that, I think. Let me pull it up on Spot Track.
Yeah, he rarely plays. He just has not been good in the slightest.
$50 million this year. $50 million.
Yeah.
Next year is 50.3.
Yeah, they'll have to attach on if they want to move on from Kawhi, they would have to attach on picks, which they just don't have. So rebuilding is almost impossible for them, and they're not going to be able to get any youth for Kawhi or Harden. The only real shot they have is trading Zubac, but then letting Kawhi and Harden leave in free agency for nothing. Like it feels like you're losing a lot there. Like I just don't see a realistic path forward for this Clippers team. Like, they're kind of stuck in that situation where they don't have a star and they don't have the ability to get one anytime soon. Absolute soonest is, I believe, 2032?
Something like that, yeah.
Is when they get
that's if they actually hit well on the pick.
Yeah. That's freaking 6 years from now.
The good news for the Clippers, the good news is they're not really letting down any fans. Because there's no fans to let down. Especially after you just treated Chris Paul like you don't care about the Lob City era. All of the fans that were there were the ones that stuck around after Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. They're now gone. So there's no one to disappoint. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. They can suck for 20 years and no one will care.
Look, no matter what happens, I've taken a lot of flack as a Wizards fan because it's the Wizards. They've been mediocre since my dad was 5. At least they're not the Clippers. Like,
there's excitement for the Wizards right now.
Yeah,
you guys have
we've
good
got
young
Alex
talent.
Sarr.
Yeah,
we've got draft picks. We've got draft picks. We've got Alex Sarr. We've got Keyshawn George.
You had Denny Avdija. You had him until you threw him away. But
hey, Bub Carrington's looked good these last few games.
He has.
We just did an episode last week about a lot of the good and the bad with the Wizards moving forward. But it looking back at the entire history of the Wizards, we have never had a player that's been fantastic for us and then turned around and been like, you know what, you can go home. We don't need you anymore. Or we've never sat there and been like, no, we've never sat there and said we're going to keep you. We're going to have you retire here. You are our guy. Making T-shirts with MLK and Blake Griffin on the T-shirt. That's a real thing, by the way. For those who don't remember, they made a T-shirt with great historical figures: Abraham Lincoln, MLK, all sorts of great people. I think Muhammad Ali was on there, and Blake Griffin, to try and get him to stay, and then
Sounds like
traded him less than a year later. Traded him to a really bad Detroit team that really didn't have a lot going for him. And yeah, that is not an organization that is run well. It's never been run well. They went from Donald Sterling to this current ownership who's did both of those things. That's no matter what, at least we're not the Clippers. That's all I've been saying for the last
Clippers
several weeks.
Are the Lakers Junior, and they always will be. That's, I mean, I know it's a real hot take, but yeah, well, that's so cool. You have an arena that you might never pay back, especially if the aspiration thing goes too south for you. So, but hey,
got a little sidetracked there.
Yeah, at least neither of us are fans of the Clippers. My Cavs are having a rough year. They finally beat the Hornets in good fashion. DeAndre Hunter looks really great, and he got 27 points. So we can. Darius Garland got a double-double, by the way. 27 points, 10 assists. My Cavs might be back. They might be back. I still want to trade. They are not a contender. I refuse to believe they are a contender with how they've looked throughout the rest of the year. I think it's really important to note that we just still haven't seen Jared Allen really turn it up beyond one game this year. He had 4 field goals attempted against the Hornets. Got all 4 of them, but he didn't even play 20 minutes. I still think there's something going on there. Jared Allen is so underused and underappreciated by the Cavs. Evan Mobley's not playing, by the way. Evan Mobley's still hurt, and Jared Allen is giving you 19 minutes and 48 seconds. Also got out-rebounded by Dean Wade. I won't go too much into my Cavs conspiracy.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
I don't know where you move on to him from. Personally, I think the Cavaliers should be calling up the Pacers. Pacers have a lot of pieces that make sense. They need a center really bad. Benedict Mathurin is reportedly on the trade market. I think something like Jared Allen for Benedict as a general framework makes both teams better, gives them what they need. Cavaliers get their tough, gritty wing player who's willing to fight someone. He might fight one of his own teammates because he and DeAndre Hunter are not friends. But who knows?
Yeah, and since you touched on Darius Garland, something that's come out actually since the last episode aired is there's potential rumors surrounding Garland on the trade market. I believe it was the Wolves, the Wizards, and who was the other team? The Magic.
Most recently, the Kings have also been noted as a team with interest. It's an interesting development. I think in a lot of ways, Darius Garland just becomes the scapegoat for the Cavaliers.
Absolutely, he does.
I wrote about this for King James Gospel, where I was saying that he's kind of getting set up to get an undeserved fate. I've also written before, if there's anything I've been inconsistent on my takes, it's been Darius Garland in the trade situation. It's been very hard to have one take the whole time, because you see a world where the Cavaliers can be better if Darius Garland's nearly $40 million is spread out among multiple really good role players.
Yeah.
But then you consider a world where you don't have the dribble penetration and the kick-out opportunities and the three-point shooting and just everything Garland brings. Really, it comes down to if I could somehow make Garland turn the injury settings off for Garland and make him 6 inches taller, get him to be a big guard. I think
let's make him Magic Johnson.
I would love that, please.
That's more or less what you're doing there.
Really, yeah, pretty much. Garland, I think, is so pivotal to the Cavaliers. I don't know if they can afford to trade him. I think he might be the most important Cavalier to that offense. You just do not see the offensive flow and the opportunities for a guy like a Sam Merrill or DeAndre Hunter come through without someone like Darius Garland who can just thread the needle with the pass. Yes, Donovan Mitchell is a serviceable point guard, but if anybody watches more than 2.5 games of Mitchell as a full-time point guard, you will see the need for Darius Garland.
Yeah. Their offense has, I don't think I remember a single time since LeBron where the Caps offense has looked at all serviceable without Garland on the floor. Like they can maybe look okay in stretches without him, but it's like he's the heart and soul of their offense. Trading him, I think, would be a mistake. But even past that, like looking at the teams that are reportedly interested, I don't think any of them really have a good package that both they're willing
That both
to give
teams
up.
would say yes to.
Yeah, I agree because Cleveland, they're either they're gonna want win now players. Right?
Absolutely.
Washington, we've got C.J. McCollum and Chris Middleton. Other than that, we've got our young guys. We're not giving you any of our young guys. We're not giving you any draft picks. Like that would have to be an expanded trade.
It'd have to be
we'd have
Chris
to give
Middleton.
up. Yeah, we'd have to give up a ton of draft capital, and I don't see it happening.
I don't.
He's Will Dawkins just has not moved. He hasn't moved any. He hasn't moved on from picks for players unless he's moving up in the draft. We do need to move several picks. They've got 5 second-round picks this year. Those do need moved, but I don't think 5 second-round picks in this year's draft is really going to move the Cavs.
I mean, they're really expensive. They could use some young, cheap talent. If you want Dean Wade, then they might listen to that. But no, you're right. I think I also wrote on a piece on the kind of pipe dream trade that a lot of Cavs fans were circulating on Twitter for a bit of a straight 1-for-1 swap of Darius Garland for Franz Wagner. It's not happening. Orlando says no because Franz is, a lot of people might not admit it because Paolo Banchero won Rookie of the Year and everything. Franz is the best player in Orlando.
He is.
If you are trading one of Wagner or Banchero for Garland, you're trading Paolo.
Yeah.
And although, I could see it in the summer.
I do think both of them would be significantly better as secondary ball handlers, and they're both kind of used as primary ball handlers right now. And that's just not their game. The roster construction in Orlando is, to put it mildly, god awful. It's they don't have a point guard on the team other than Anthony Black. Actually, they have Tyus Jones, but Tyus Jones isn't really a point guard that elevates your team. He doesn't make risky passes at all. He's very, very safe.
He's great backup.
He's fantastic backup.
Yeah.
But again, like if you're going to pick, if you want a point guard, you want a guy who can actually create offense and is willing to take a risk if it is going to create a better look. Whereas Tyus Jones, I think he cares a little bit too much about that assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah, and let's just be clear, Jalen Suggs is not the kind of point guard you need. He's not really a point guard at all. I mean,
he's a shooting guard.
4.8 assists, 2.7 turnovers. I don't think he's a good enough passer to put an offense in his hands. He is a shooting guard. He's just had to play as point guard because you're right. They don't have a point guard. And the truth is, Darius Garland fixes everything the Magic need. They have shooting now with Desmond Bane. They have the defense that you can put around Garland with a guy like Jalen Suggs, with Desmond Bane, with Wagner or Banchero. They have good centers. You know, Carter Jr. gets hurt a lot, but you still have Goga Badatse off the bench. Like, you have talent. You have Tristan Da Silva, who's a fun young shooter. But you're not getting Garland. I don't think the Cavaliers trade him, first and foremost, at least not this season. If things really go downhill in the playoffs again, or they don't really make it out of the first round, I could see Garland finally being the scapegoat and being traded, because you're not trading Donovan Mitchell if he doesn't ask for it. This summer, there's a lot going on with Mitchell. He can sign an extension. It's his last official season under contract with the Cavs in 26-27 before he has a player option in 27. So I think right now trading Garland is an odd panic move because Mitchell could upturn your entire strategy. with
Yeah.
one trade request this summer. He could say, I'm not signing an extension. Get me out of here. I want to go to wherever. Because he would actually have that power to say where he wants to go.
He would.
Now, if he signed and he's happy to stay, I do think there's a world where maybe you say, Garland, we love him, but we need to find another point guard in that position and get like another true larger star, because Evan Mobley, maybe he just still doesn't look like a true second star. Maybe you say we cannot have our two best scorers be undersized guards. Mobley's not taking that leap. Maybe that's when you revisit it with the Magic. Maybe you say it's Garland for Banchero, right? Banchero right now is on a poison pill contract. He's going to inflate to about the same number as Garland. There might be some cap manipulation that needs to happen somehow to make the numbers work. But I could see it. I do think there's a world where after the season Garland gets traded. But at the deadline, the Cavaliers do not have the time necessary to find another point guard to replace him.
Absolutely not.
Trading Garland needs to be a multi-move deal. And that probably means Allen's out the door. Max Strus might be out the door. You're probably not picking up the team option on Lonzo Ball at that point. Because you're probably restructuring your entire backcourt, and you don't want Lonzo to be a full-time starter. He's too injury-prone. Maybe you keep him as a cheap backup, but he hasn't looked that great anyway. And maybe you're trying to just duck the second apron and then make a much larger multi-team Garland trade where you get a lot of moving pieces. There's a world where it happens. I love the idea of if the Cavaliers could land a DeJounte Murray. If the Cavaliers core suddenly is Mitchell, Banchero, and Mobley, they might win the East just outright. They might. I don't know if that'll happen. The Cavaliers are a very incomplete roster, is really what it comes down to for me. I don't think there's a world where I'll be convinced they can make the NBA Finals this year after what I've seen. And it's not just because I'm being a doomer. They've had bad games. I understand the injuries. It's just too much redundancy, too many question marks around the core. The supporting cast is great. I think they have some of the best depth in the NBA. But that core doesn't make sense right now.
No. They're a deep team. They just don't have... Their core doesn't fit together at all, and that's been an issue for several years now. And it's kind of been an ongoing issue that they've been trying to ignore and trying to fix and find different solutions to, but it's getting close to the time where it's like, somebody needs to go. But I'm just going to real quick visit the other two teams mentioned.
Of course, yeah.
Minnesota would likely need to give up Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, or Julius Randle, or Rudy Gobert, one of those guys. That's not happening. All of those guys are key to everything that Minnesota does, both on offense and on defense. All four of those guys. Yeah, I said four guys. All four of those guys are major contributors for what Minnesota does, and they're really like the main core behind everything they do, because those guys are able to pick up for anything that Anthony Edwards isn't already capable of doing, because they're just all great players, especially now that Jaden McDaniels has taken that leap. He's looked a lot better this year. Naz Reid's still a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. Rudy Gobert still allowing 35% at the rim. Those are Julius Randle.
If they can find the right price for a point guard, they're set. Go ahead, though. Sorry.
I would. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago in our first episode, but I would go for Isaiah Collier. I think he's going to be a significantly cheaper option for them.
Kobe White as well.
Kobe White is another one. I've heard them linked to Kobe White, but I don't see Garland happening. Garland's too expensive, and honestly, there are options that are significantly cheaper that the price difference doesn't match the talent gap, and that's not disrespect to Darius Garland. It's just he's on a massive contract.
He is. He's making about $39.4 million this year.
Yeah,
and for a team like Minnesota, where they're in the first apron, so they can't even take back extra money. So you're looking at a situation where they have to include a third team anyway, and they have to be sending out I think something like Jaden McDaniels and Dante DiVincenzo makes the money almost match, but since it's not exactly there, now you're throwing Mike Conley over to a third team and trying to just sell him off and probably attaching picks to get there. And I just don't see it for the Timberwolves. I like Kobe White a lot better for them. I think he'd be my favorite choice. Garland doesn't work.
I wouldn't move Mike Conley if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves. He just he's a very calming presence for them on both sides of the ball. I understand he's not the same guy he was even 2 years ago.
Yeah. But realistically, he's only like, what, 10, 11 million this year?
Yeah, I think
He doesn't
something
hurt
like
you.
that.
He doesn't hurt you to keep him there as a leader.
What he does provide though is he provides calmness. They get very they speed up almost uncontrollably when he's not on the floor, and especially in the playoffs they've done that every year. So adding another point guard who can slow them down, keep everything under control would be fantastic for them. And then the other team that is interested is the Kings, and I don't see a world where that happen. I don't know what
that is.
You've mentioned Sabonis being potentially interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't see that.
The Kings are a team that make a lot of sense to me come summertime. Again,
yes.
If the Cavaliers don't work out this season and you want to change things up, I think Sabonis could look good. It would have to be a massive move. I mean, I'm talking, you're restructuring your core and a lot of your bench because you have to get under the second apron in order to make something like that happen. But I actually think the Kings would make a lot of sense as a landing spot for both Garland and Jared Allen. If Sabonis is on the move, I think people like Garland and Allen fit really well next to to Keegan Murray. And I believe they have Wolf there. Wolf is that's their young guy, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry.
Nick Clifford?
No, Danny Wolf, is he not? Yeah, he's Sacramento Kings. Yeah, Danny Wolf. He's a young guy that's starting to look really good to me. He's a 7-footer, really versatile. He's got some shooting potential. I think he's the kind of guy that could look really good next to Allen, kind of redo a Tower City thing that the Cavs have done with him, of the two big men in the front court. I think the Sacramento Kings are a team that has a more promising future than I thought a few weeks ago. So I could see the value for Garland. I could see the value for Allen. But right now, it would have to be a massive move. I mean, Sabonis would have to be involved. You'd probably have to send a Keon Ellis to the Cavs as well. You help them rebuild their backcourt. I do like the concept, but it is the Sacramento Kings, so they will screw it up if it could happen. So, I don't know. There was the fourth team. Let's see, it was the Wizards, Magic. No, we've gone over all four now. Yeah. I don't think Garland gets traded.
No.
I think the Cavaliers' leadership is stubbornly in love with the core four. I think it's frustrating because the flaws of the core four are things that are out of leadership's control. You can't make Donovan Mitchell 6'8". You can't make Darius Garland 6'8", which really that is the flaw of the backcourt. You can't force Mobley to actually be aggressive on offense more than once every 3 games. You can't force Jared Allen to be better than he is. The Cavaliers, I will say this on the trade market, and this will be my only big rant, and I'm not even Jared Allen hater. I am a Jared Allen's role on the Cavaliers hater. Jared Allen would have a lot more trade value this year if he was an expiring contract, which he could have been. But the Cavaliers signed him to a multi-year extension where next year he'll be worth $28 million, the year after that $32 million. So you trade him to a team, they're not trading for a $20 million a year player that he is now. They're trading for $28 million in the 32. Jared Allen is not worth either of those numbers. They signed him to a 4-year, $20 million deal a while back. They got him $20 million each year as a flat rate. He has not done anything to significantly improve since that time. Yeah, they gave him a 40% pay boost for no reason. They did not negotiate. They just gave it to him the very moment it was possible. And those are the kinds of things you do for your leading star. That's the kind of thing that the Lakers will do for Luka Doncic. Those are the kinds of things that, the Magic should do for Franz Wagner. Those are the kinds of things that you see for the lead star of a championship aspiring team. Jared Allen is not that. They negotiated with nobody. It felt like a deal where they just wanted a big headline. They wanted to show that they were doubling down on the core and no one could stop them. We're not scared of you, second apron. Come get us. Well, it has. Because you suck and you have no path out of it. So it has. And it's coming to bite them in the you-know-what. And it really makes me question There's reports that Dan Gilbert, the Cavaliers owner, is getting more involved in the team's day-to-day operations. He's very upset about the team's play. Makes me wonder what happens. Is Kobe Altman still the president of basketball operations by the end of the season or by the start of next? I'm not saying he should be fired. I'm saying I think the Cavaliers are at a tipping point, and I think Jared Allen is not a bad player in any way. I think he is simply the most clear example and symptom of the problem the Cavaliers have been ignoring. So I'm not trying to say I dislike Jared Allen. Like I've said, I think he fits so many teams so well. But the Cavaliers have been sitting here saying Evan Mobley is supposed to be your full-time center. You want him to be your full-time center. And then they just don't do it. And then you double and triple down on not doing what you say you want to do by giving a $30+ million salary in 2 years to a guy who hasn't improved since his last contract. His numbers are the same. In fact, this year's rebounding numbers are the worst of his career since his rookie season. So I don't know what the Cavaliers have done. I do know they made mistakes, and that is my big rant of the day for Allen. I love Allen. I actually love watching him play basketball when he's not on my team. I will love watching him again, but it's just it doesn't make sense anymore.
He made the one All-Star game.
He did as like the fourth round of injury reserve thing. It was a legitimate All-Star appearance. It's just like. I feel like the Cavaliers have ridden that for a long time. We have 4 all-star players in our core. No, you don't. You don't. Not anymore. He's a former all-star. But I digress. I do love the Cavaliers. But yeah, so that is, I guess that's my Cavaliers conspiracy for the day is that Jared Allen is getting traded. That's the same one as 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely. You're doubling down. You're doubling down on it.
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's got to happen at some point. You cannot be in the second apron for more than maybe 2 years at the most. Cavaliers already are going to have a frozen pick 7 years from now if they stay in it till the end of this year. They're really screwing themselves. I don't understand the stubborn obsession with just such a top-heavy cap sheet. I don't get it. I don't know if it's just because they don't want to replace that massive, 300-foot poster right outside the stadium. I don't know if you've seen it, but the building right across from the Cavs stadium always has a massive poster about the Cavaliers.
Yeah, I think they've got all 4 of them right now.
They do. They have all 4. Yeah,
it
says "For the Land" with a U and for the land. And I love it. It's unique. It used to be LeBron with powder in the air, the witness stuff.
We all know the LeBron one was better.
Because you had LeBron effing James. You can't combine all 3 of these players and give yourself LeBron, especially not the cultural impact. But again, I digress. Go Cavs. I should just have a Cavs rant podcast at this point, where I just sit in front of a camera for an hour and talk only about the Cavs. But 1/3 of the way through the season, we've seen some teams we thought would be contenders rise and fall. Some we didn't think would be contenders rise up. Some of them stay where we thought they would be. If you had to pick right now your conference finals contenders and the winners of each conference finals, who would it be?
I think OKC is going to beat. I think OKC beats Denver.
Okay.
Although one thing I will say, I could absolutely see Denver beating OKC.
Okay.
I forgot what the metric was, but it was if you look at wins against 500 plus teams, Denver's number 1. They have won 90% of games against teams with a record above 500. And then number 2, second best team in the league at beating teams over 500 is the Detroit Pistons. I could see them taking down the Knicks in the playoffs. I do think Detroit does beat the Knicks if they match up. It's going to be a bold prediction. I think we might get an OKC Detroit finals. I think that would be extremely fun. Those are 2 teams that are built around defense, which is something we haven't seen in a while. Or 2 teams, their greatest strength is their defense. I think that would be really fun. I know I get a lot of crap with the Knicks fans whenever I say I don't see New York beating Detroit in a 7-game series. But looking back, just a few months ago, back in April and May, Detroit outplayed New York in like 4 or 5 games, but still lost that series.
Yeah.
There was no Jaden Ivey. There's no Isaiah Stewart. That was a very injured Detroit team, and Cade Cunningham has taken a massive step forward.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Duren's taken a massive step forward. They went and added Duncan Robinson. Dennis Jenkins, look at this guy. He came in and as a starter was like putting up like what 28-5, like crazy numbers for a guy who was in the G League to start the season. I think Detroit would beat New York in a 7-game series, and especially considering like the main thing they attacked was Duren couldn't switch onto Cat because Duren was scared of the drive. But this year, Duren's switching onto guards and taking that challenge. Yeah, I think he lost 10, 15 pounds over the offseason. His conditioning's looked a lot better. He's a lot faster. He's not scared of that drive anymore. And he's got the body to really bother big men as well. The only thing I could see beating them is the fact that New York is a lot more confident in their bench and they're not driving their guys into the ground this year.
Yeah, Mike Brown's definitely changed that. If I were to answer the same question, I think in the East, I have the same two in the conference finals, although I will say I think the Knicks win. I won't go too much into it because I think it's more so just comes down to the Knicks have played more in the playoffs, and I'm kind of always going to take that playoff experience right now. The Pistons, I think, could absolutely prove me wrong. It's just, to me, it's a toss-up. So I'm going to go with the team with a little bit more experience, with Jalen Brunson, who's more proven in the playoffs, and not just with the Knicks, but also his Mavericks tenure. So this is nothing anti-Pistons. This is just purely, and I'm much more of an anti-Knicks guy than I am an anti-Pistons guy, right? Like, nobody in Cleveland is supposed to like New York teams because we're a small market. You're not supposed to like the big markets in your area. So I also still think the Knicks did Jeremy Lin dirty, and I'm always going to hold that against them. But, I do think if it was 7 games, I would take New York. Probably in 7, in a tight game 7. Out West is where I really differ. I'm never one to want to bet on a repeat. I think it's been so much fun to see, 7 champions in 7 years? 7 different teams winning. So I always kind of, in my brain, I'm happy to be wrong on these things because, seeing dynasties build up is great. By the way, I'm sorry, I cut you off talking about Game 7. What were you going to say?
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, okay. Out West, I'm going to predict Western Conference Finals is Spurs versus Lakers. I think Wemby, Fox, Castle, and Harper is such a fun team. I think Devin Vassell, I'd even mentioned him earlier. Holy wow, what a big-time shot maker he is. You can give it to him from anywhere on the court. You can have 4 people around him. It's like prime Michael Porter Jr., just way shorter, but kind of more fun to watch when it just comes to making whatever shot you give him. Every shot looks good to that man. Every single shot. And he makes so many of them that he shouldn't. In the playoffs, that kind of skill is so valuable. And him being like the 5th or 6th most important guy on your team, wow, that's great. Means he's going to get a lot of open shots. And then the Lakers. I love the Lakers right now. They're fun to watch. LeBron doesn't even have to try. Luka looks fantastic. Austin Reeves is an all-star. DeAndre Ayton looks great. Rui Hachimura is really good. You find one good trade by the deadline for this team to add more defense, either in the front court or on the wing, maybe both. You don't even need like an elite level defender, just someone solid. I think they might be the best overall team in the West because you have 2 of the greatest stars of this era in LeBron and Luka. You have Austin Reeves, who this ascending wouldn't have expected star. So my prediction would be the Lakers beat the Spurs. I think it is going to be big market versus big market. I don't love that finals. I like small market versus small market. That's what
Twitter
I watch
would
more.
Be terrible.
It would be horrible. It would be riots after every game. I don't care. It'll be fun. I think it's Knicks Lakers. And honestly, I love the idea of Luka versus Brunson. I love it. Both of them betrayed by the Mavericks. Now
Nico
who gets
Harrison
to
would immediately
He would probably have a burner account on Twitter to say,
It wasn't about
something.
trade. It wasn't about trade. Same man who fumbled Steph Curry for Nike, by the way.
Very true. And I'm just gonna say it. I think Lakers win the finals this year. They're my pick right now. Just because I think it'd be so fun. I don't think that's the correct pick. I think most people would disagree with me, but Luka and LeBron is a team up that I can never bet against. And now Austin Reeves looks great, and so does Ayton.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with the Lakers with making the playoff or making a playoff run rather, their defense is horrible right now. They need to find if they are going to make a postseason run, which I'm not gonna rule out. They need to find defense desperately.
Yeah.
They need perimeter. Their perimeter defense is bad. Their interior defense is bad. LeBron maybe takes it up a notch in the playoffs. Maybe not.
He will, yeah.
It's, 42 now?
Turns 41 here in a few days.
Yeah. He's old.
He is, yeah.
Ayton maybe has another level he can reach in the playoffs. He's definitely played better defense than he had in his career than he has this season, but it's whether or not he's really interested.
I will say I would not be surprised if by the end of the trade deadline, DeAndre Ayton is coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the moves. I could see the Lakers being a team interested in bringing Zubac back.
But does the money doesn't work?
The money's hard. You would have
the money
to do
is going to be difficult.
Rui Hachimura and Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Connect. Those are going to have to be the players on the trade block for the Lakers. And I think you can do something with that. Zubac is $19.5 million this year. Rui Hachimura is about $18 million, and then you have Connect's $4.5 million. So that gets you a little bit over. I can see the Clippers wanting to do it. I just don't know if the two LA teams would be willing to make another Zubac trade. They did it in the past, and it didn't work out for the Lakers. I could actually see the Lakers being interested in like a Jared Allen. Obviously, they're interested in Herb Jones. I love that idea. I think it's hard to figure out what the Pelicans would want from the Lakers for Herb Jones. Is it Vanderbilt and Connect that makes the money work?
I don't know what the Pelicans would need to move on from really either of their really good wings. Like they've got two elite 2-8 wings. Elite might be a strong word, but
I think at least for Trey Murphy, Herb Jones' offense is not that great.
Yeah.
But
Trey Murphy is like Andrew Wiggins on steroids. Herb Jones is a step below Andrew Wiggins.
Trey Murphy on a better team is an all-star consideration. That's my
absolutely, yeah. He reminds me so much of that 2022 Andrew Wiggins run, especially before the All-Star break when he was averaging 18, 3 and 3.
Yeah,
it was like real solid. But I don't know what LA could do to really fix that defense without really sacrificing their offense, other than.
It'll be difficult, but I think there's a path there.
Yeah.
I don't think they are in a situation where you can't make it work. I mean, Luka's in good shape. If Luka turns up the defense in the playoffs, I think that's the biggest thing with the Lakers is they are so built for the playoff run rather than the regular season because LeBron does turn it up in the playoffs. Luka actually defends well in the playoffs.
Yes.
Reeves has the build to defend well. I think he's more of a system defender more than a individual defender.
Yeah.
Rui Hachimura has looked fantastic on defense in the playoffs. You obviously have a Jared Vanderbilt where he can't even make a layup, but he can defend anything. You could throw him out there at any point if you needed it. That's why I do think if you can dangle Vando, you can dangle Connect, maybe you dangle Hachimura, and you get two really solid defenders, I think they're the best team entering the playoffs. I really do. You have the star power, and you have star power that ascends in the playoffs. They aren't going to be this, just this. DeAndre Ayton might even be better on defense in the playoffs. I don't know. My fear with Ayton is if he gets moved to the bench, he stops trying. But in that case, just don't trade Jackson Hayes. He's still pretty good for you. You can make him work. He's a good rim runner, not a horrible defender. If you have to just say, screw it, we don't care about Ayton anymore, just find a center that's better than him. Go get Walker Kessler healthy again really fast before next season. Kessler really is such a big solution to so much of what the Lakers have, but that he's out. He's out until next year, and that sucks. I love Kessler. Love watching him play. But on the topic of young centers, I know you kind of wanted to talk about Derek Queen.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to segue that with this tweet that I sent you over the weekend. Yeah. There are... Wait, I'm pulling it up real quick.
Okay.
I've pulled it up.
We'll finish off
times.
With this topic here. We're at 50 minutes, and I know we're both tired.
Yeah, it's midnight here now, and I know you're not ahead of me.
Yeah.
It's a tweet by Rhett Bauer. There are currently 7 players leading their teams in rebounds per game and assists per game. They're Jokic, Giannis, Giddey, Şengün, Jalen Johnson, Nick Claxton, and Derek Queen. I think that's a crazy list for those the last two guys to be on.
Well, Nick Claxton is because he's the only one who knows how to pass on his team. Cam Thomas doesn't pass. Michael Porter Jr. doesn't pass.
Yeah,
he just
that's fair.
says crazy things on podcasts and shoots the ball.
Igor
Diamond?
Yeah, I was surprised he isn't leading the team in assists.
He's still young, and I mean, Claxton just probably has more usage.
Yeah, that's fair. Another surprising name is Giddey. Josh Giddey leading his team in rebounds when he's got Matas Buzelis, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic all on that team. Him leading that team in rebounds is kind of insane.
I think that just comes to the fact Giddey's kind of having a breakout year.
He's having a fantastic season. He was an MVP consideration there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, until the Chicago Bulls were the Chicago Bulls again.
But really the big outlier on this list is the rookie, Derek Queen, who has been absolutely fantastic offensively and has really been the one bright spot for New Orleans this season.
And Fears.
Yeah. And Fears. He's also been good. I think Queen's offense has, as great as it's been, I think a lot of people are looking into that and are seeing a lot of like, oh my gosh, this is the next Jokic, this is the next Şengün. But I don't think he's going to get that. Because you look at Jokic, you look at Şengün, they are significantly better defensively than Derek Queen. Derek Queen is both smaller than both of those guys and also slower somehow than both of those guys.
How tall is Derek Queen, actually?
I think he's 6'9".
Yeah, 6'9".
Yeah, he's short. He's of those 3 guys, he's an inch shorter, inch and a half roughly, than Jokic and Şengün, and he's also slower than both of them. His footwork is fantastic. It's phenomenal. And he's obviously an incredibly intelligent basketball player since he leads his team in assists as a center. But the problem with Queen, and I think this is going to really hold the Pelicans back long term if they decide to build around a duo of Fears and Queen, is looking forward, like, you have to build very specifically around Queen.
Yeah.
And the guys they have that they want to build long term around don't really fit that. Fears, he's not a good defensive player. He's smart. He's a really good. You use the term system defender. That's good for Fears. He's really good at getting those steals. He's really good at finding those passing lanes. But get him on an island, he's way smaller than guys like Curry, who a lot of people see as defensive liabilities, but are able to hold their own. Curry was able to hold his own against Tatum in the finals. Tatum and Brown kept hunting Curry, and Curry punished them for it. Like Curry wouldn't let them push him down the post. He's got that strength. Fears is way smaller than Curry was even as a rookie. Like,
to be fair to Fears, he is young. I think there's a lot of growth. If his offense is already this good, he has a lot of basketball intelligence too. I think it comes down to can he figure out the defense. And the Pelicans, I'm just curious what's going on with Yves Missi. Like, does he not play anymore? Go ahead and keep going though. 3 minutes in their last game on the 20th.
He's stuck behind Queen and Looney.
Trade him. The Cavs will take him. Please give us Yves Missi.
Yeah, I was surprised. I really like Queen. I want to go to Maryland. That's the school I want to go to, and he's a Maryland alum. Not alum, but he went to Maryland. He probably should have been a Wizard. But a lot of the reactions I'm seeing are
fire Will Dawkins or fire so and so GM. And that's the general response I've seen to every good Derek Queen game. And to me, like, it's going to be so hard to build around him. Yeah, he's having this great offensive season as a rookie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember the last time a rookie's gone out and had 30-point triple doubles in the first 10 games of a season like he has, or 20 games.
Wonder,
I don't remember exactly.
Is it impossible to build around him if simply you just don't trade either of Jones or Murphy? Those two are kind of the best kinds of players to put around Fears and Queen.
But you need those guys, and then you're gonna want a defensive point guard as well. You're gonna want
DeJounte Murray. Maybe you just need him healthy.
Yeah, and then you have kind of the ideal guys. And granted, a big part of the issue they're gonna run into is the fact that half their money is tied up to two guys who don't play, and DeJounte Murray and Zion.
Yeah, the Zion piece. Isn't it crazy we're talking about the Pelicans and don't even care about Zion in this equation? Outside of the finances?
I don't even know I don't know what's going on with Zion. He's hurt all the time, and I don't know. But to me, like, the best you're gonna get with Derek Queen is if you move him to that power forward spot. But then even at the power forward spot, he's a little bit too slow to really catch up with guys because he's too small.
Yeah.
He's too small to really be a center. Because again, like, he's smaller than Jokic and Şengün. Mm-hmm. He's not as fast. So like, you almost want to move him to a power forward and have like an elite rim protector next to him, which is why I think he would have been fantastic on the Wizards, is because he kind of covers up a lot of the weaknesses Sarr had. Mm-hmm. And then Sarr is one of the best rim protectors in the league. Like, I don't know if you saw, but he defends over 11 shots per game at the rim.
Yeah.
Which, not even close to second place. He is second in the league in points saved at the rim, behind Rudy Gobert, and that's just because Rudy Gobert is one of the greatest defenders of all time. And I don't think that's debatable. Four-time DPOY, massive impact on that end.
Yeah.
But like, Sarr just defends so many shots, like, he would make up for that difference with Queen, which is why I understand a lot of the Wizards fans being disappointed we didn't draft Queen. But also at the same time, like, I understand why. Because that defense is going to be a massive concern when it comes to winning games.
I think Derek Queen, he's a rookie. I think it's best that the Pelicans keep him at the center this year. It's really the hardest position to play in the NBA right now. Point guards, but he's a point center, so he's dealing with the worst of both worlds.
Absolutely.
I think just keep him there. Let him learn. Let him suffer. Let him struggle. You're not going to be a contender next year. If Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears are really the two stars you want to build around, you're looking at trying to win in 2033. It's 2025. Just wait it out. Maybe 3 years down the line, you realize he really can't play the center. You need to move him to the power forward. At that point, the Zion money problem's gone. The DeJounte Murray money problem is gone. You've probably, hopefully, made a few more good picks. They gave up this year's draft picks. No, they don't. But they do have some second rounders. They could always make some trades. Does the Herb Jones trade? Do they trade him and get a first round pick for this year from it? Maybe it's a Murray. I personally think the Pelicans should keep Murphy. I really don't like the idea of trading Murphy. He's such an elite athlete, great shooter, great defender. I think Fears, Murphy, and Queen is a real core for the future. The hopefully post OKC future for them. Like, hopefully they can keep them together until OKC is beatable. I just don't know if the Pelicans have what you would need to beat them right now at all. I like Queen. I think it's just nice to have excitement for the Pelicans again. Like, they suck, but in a fun way. It's not like oh my God, why can't Zion just be healthy? All of our faith is in Brandon Ingram.
They're really bad, but they don't have an aging core anymore.
Yeah.
Their best player is what? Is he 20?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
He might have played 2 years. I don't know.
Truthfully, you could trade an Yves Missi to get yourself a good guy to put next to Queen. If you don't have faith in him anymore, I can promise the Pelicans a lot of teams have faith in a 21-year-old who last season put up 9 points and 8 rebounds and 1.5 blocks a game. Like, that is a really solid rookie year for Misi. The fact he's only getting like 17 and a half minutes a game on average right now and has had 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 11, 13, and 8 in his last 5 games. Misi should be on the trade block more than anyone else on the Pelicans because this guy has value that is not being used. He could be really special for a team, and you could get a good defender next to Queen by trading Misi.
I would actually. You've mentioned this guy as a Pelicans trade candidate. I think Jarrett Allen fits next to Derek Queen wonderfully.
Yeah.
He has that switchability.
Yeah.
He's dominant defensive center. The only issue would be spacing would be a little awkward, but they can figure
Queen
that out.
will probably end up being a good shooter in a year or two.
He'll probably figure it out. I think you move Queen over to that 4. The size isn't as much of a deal of a big deal. Yeah, there are some really big, fast power forwards, but as long as you mind your matchups and you probably just switch Trey Murphy onto the Giannis's anyway and onto the Jalen Johnsons anyway, like as long as they mind their matchups and are kind of careful about certain things, and they can run a zone as well.
Yeah.
They can still run him heavy center minutes.
Taking a look here at what kind of trade could work financially.
Jordan
Misi's no, please no. He's $32 million. Let's see, because Misi's only making 3.5 this year. So like Allen's $20 million, Misi's 3.3.
Zion.
Thankfully, it does not work. I mean, there's a world where is Herb Jones and Misi worth it to the Pelicans to trade for Allen? I don't know. I think that's really rich for Allen. I think that's a really rich signing. Cavs might have to throw in like a 20-30 swap there.
I could also see them tossing like I don't know what their pick situation looks like. I know they traded 5 or 4 for Mitchell. I could see them including one of those picks that they didn't trade or just a swap.
That's what I'm saying. I could see 20-30 swap.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is a trade package I think would work well, and I think is fair to both teams to some level. Jarrett Allen in a 20-30 swap, because the Cavaliers couldn't do 20-30 outright. They gave up 29 to the Jazz unprotected, so they can only do a swap in 30. I don't think the Cavaliers give up 20-31 right now, but I could see 20-30 swap, and maybe they make their swap from 2028 really complicated, where they get like the worst out of 5 teams. So maybe it's 2028 complicated swap and a 20-30 straight swap and Allen for Jones and Misi. Genuinely, I think that's a trade both teams might consider. You're getting a great defender next to Derek Queen. He's locked up for a while. The Pelicans can eat that 28 and 32 million for Allen. It doesn't matter. You're going to try to get out of it. It does. Honestly, I think that could be a really great trade because then suddenly Mobley's your center for the Cavs. Jones is your starting power forward. Misi's coming off the bench. Yeah, your center depth isn't Thomas Bryant anymore. Yeah. Which I love. I actually love Thomas Bryant. I'm a really big fan of his. I've been wanting him in Cleveland for 2 or 3 years on a veteran minimum. That's actually a trade I could see working out well for both teams. I think that it financially works. Let me try it. On Fanspo, unfortunately, Spot Track is down right now. It does fail. It's a little bit too expensive still for the Pelicans. It works for the Cavs, but not the Pels.
Yeah, somebody can throw in a small contract somewhere here or there. Like
it might be Jose Alvarado.
Yeah, throw it. Maybe not Alvarado, but
or maybe it's Micah Peavy to the Cavs.
Yeah, some player that ended the bench just to make the contracts work, or maybe even involve a third team. Or maybe make it just
one.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not a financial thing. It's just because Herb Jones isn't available for trade until January. By the trade deadline, this trade would work just fine. This could work as of January 14th. Yeah. So, honestly, in a month's time, if I'm Kobe Altman, I'm on the phone crying and begging and pleading to the Pelicans. Say, please, my job's on the line.
But, I like Derek Queen. He He's a guy I kind of wanted in Washington, but
Yeah.
I liked other guys better, just because they just fit what the team's building. But the issue with long term that I'm looking at with Derek Queen, and I think a lot of people are missing, is I don't see any world where he's going to be any kind of impactful defender. Like I understand, I understand Jokic is you can hide him. But the problem is between Jokic, Şengün, and Derek Queen. I don't see Derek Queen being a Jokic offensively, which I don't think that's too crazy to say.
He might end
Jokic,
up closer to a Sabonis than a Jokic
yeah.
offensively.
To me, Jokic is the greatest offensive player ever right now. Like we're seeing the greatest offensive peak from a single player ever. Period.
Yeah.
He's simultaneously, arguably, the best scorer in the league. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but there's definitely an argument because he's also the best playmaker in the league, and he's also the best rebounder in the league, and he's not the best rim protector in the league, but he's wonderful at disrupting passes. Like there's a reason why teams can't attack him as much. It's because he stops the pass from getting through in the first place. And
Yeah,
it's-
Jokic is
and he steps up defensively too. I
Yeah.
remember there was a game, I think it was a regular season game, where Jonathan Kuminga, I thought he had a wide open dunk. Jokic comes out of nowhere, blocks it. When looking at the three guys who Queen's game resembles the most, I don't think he's going to reach that level offensively. He might. He very well could reach Şengün's level. But then he's going to be a worse defender. I don't think he's going to be the defender Şengün is. Because Şengün, again, bigger.
Şengün is a great defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Şengün's taller, he's faster, he's stronger, he's got longer arms. Like, that, he's just physically better built to play defense at that big man position.
Yeah, if Wemby didn't exist, Şengün would probably be in the running to be the next best center in the NBA after Jokic is out.
Yeah.
I love Şengün. I agree. I don't think Derek Queen is going to be Şengün. I don't think he will be Jokic. But I also don't think many people thought Şengün would be Şengün.
Yeah.
I think it just comes down to can Queen become a average or close to average defender, and can you put a guy like a Jared Allen or someone else who's good at defense, especially like the rim protection? Can you get someone else next to him? Maybe it's Nick Claxton. He's not a great rim protector, but he's not horrible.
Nick Claxton's a good defender, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's just the size thing. Like, there's also the problem of Nick Claxton is very like he's underweight for his position still. So I don't know if that worked too well.
Yeah, he'd struggle against guys like Jokic, who could just kind of push people around. But I think ultimately what's going to happen is it's going to be like a three-stage Pokemon evolution of the Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard meme that everybody loves throwing
Queen,
around.
Şengün, Jokic.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be.
And then Mega Charizard is just Jokic in the playoffs.
Yeah. Or you can just put Jokic as Mega Charizard and Domantas Sabonis as the
Charmeleon, and then you got Şengün at Charizard.
As Charmander. Because I think Derek Queen will pass Sabonis.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to... Excuse me. I don't know if he's going to reach the level of Şengün, and I don't think he's going to reach the level of Şengün.
Yeah, it's fair. We have taken up almost an hour 10 here.
Yeah.
This might be a good way to kind of end it on, like, what is the future of Queen? I'm pretty high on him. I like him a lot. I'm actually really becoming a fan of New Orleans right now.
Yeah,
they're kind of becoming my favorite young team in the NBA. They're not there yet, necessarily. I don't think I have one definitive favorite, but I'm really enjoying them. But yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of questions, but I think my favorite young team in the NBA is the Spurs, not even because of Wemby, but because of Castle. I love watching that man play basketball. But yeah. So I think this is a pretty good place to wrap. We'll see what happens with Queen. The Pelicans might be the best place to end as a cliffhanger of their future and also what they do at the trade deadline, because everyone's calling. The Warriors want Murphy, Pistons want Murphy. They do. They've also have Zion.
Yeah, they've got
Zion and Jordan
DeJounte
Poole,
Murray.
so.
They've got DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion Williamson. Some teams might be interested in. Like, you've got absolutely, yeah, you're right. But
you might be able to call up a Euro League team that might be willing to take Zion at this point. I don't know if anyone in the NBA. I think 29 teams are out on him.
I could see somebody taking a flyer. but New Orleans would have to give up more picks, and I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, it'd have to be a team that's desperate, like a Charlotte. It'd have to be like Memphis trades Ja for Zion.
Yeah.
It'd have to be LaMelo for Zion.
Negative trade value for negative trade value.
I could see Kristaps for Zion. If the Hawks are like, hey, here's a huge expiring contract, give us Zion and a future first round swap. I could honestly see that.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, yeah, Zion.
Maybe Brooklyn.
Maybe.
Michael Porter Jr. for Zion straight up.
Not happening. No, they're better off calling Milwaukee.
Yeah, true.
All right. I think that's a good spot to leave it off.
That is a good spot. Yep.
We'll see you all next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell us why the Pelicans are going to be way better than we think in the comments too.
Awesome. Yep. 2033 Pelicans champions. Let's go.
It's going to be the Wizards. Let's be real. See y'all.
Have a good one.